to Noting the Knits. In this video, I'm just going to share with you my most recent cardigan, preceded by some of the cardigans I've knit over the years. In my last video, I mistakenly said that many of these had not been put on my Ravelry page, but that is not correct. They are there, the photos are not that great, and the information is scanty. So I'm going to, having done the research to do this video, I'm going to update all the information for these cardigans. The first one, I'm not sure exactly when I did it. It is, I think I started it in February of 2019, and I'm not sure when I finished it. But it's the Snowball Bobble Cardigan. The pattern is by Annie Lupton, and it is a knit collage. It's a knit collage pattern, and the yarn is by Knit Collage. It's called Spun Cloud, and the color is Antique Mauve. Has all these baubles in it. I think I was probably inspired by a fruity knitting podcast where they introduced me to the Knit Collage people, and she does her she acquires yarn made by people in India to her specifications, and they include, and this has got little silver threads in it, and when I make a hat video, I'll have a hat with some Knit Collage yarn as well, which is pretty exotic. So that is the Snowball Bobble Cardigan. Then I have a well-worn cardigan that I knit. This was probably my first COVID lockdown knit, and I think I started it shortly after lockdown and finished it in June of that year, which would have been, I think, 2020. Summer of 2020 I finished it. I'm kind of a slow knitter. These videos should help other people who are busy people who do a little knitting on the side feel really accomplished, because it takes me a long time to do something. This is the Flaum, F-L-A-U-M. The company is Amarasu, and the pattern was designed by Justynna Lorkowska. And I had some Lion Brand Fisherman's wool left over, and that's what I used because I wasn't going out to a store. You couldn't go out and buy anything. So that was my first Flaum, and I liked it, I wore it a lot, and I decided to make another one in a finer yarn. And this is Mountain Meadow Woolen Mill yarn. They are in Wyoming. I probably bought this at the store when I drove out to Yellowstone. Sorry, a lot of gray hairs here. We drove out to Yellowstone and stopped there and took a tour. And when you go there, if you take the tour and answer all the questions in their questionnaire and get them all right, you will get a 10% discount or something like that. So I recommend that. And I made this in the fall and winter of 2021 and 2022. And the yarn is called Cody, and the color is Russet. I made another COVID lockdown sweater that I can't find at the moment, so I'll tuck that in another video. Then my more recent cardigan has got quite the story. So this is the Shipshape cardigan by Heidi Kirrmaier, and a lot of her designs feature a triangle, two triangles. You start with two triangles and you go from there, believe it or not. So the yarn was purchased in about 2021, I think. It was from Arbon Textiles in England, and again, another fruity knitting podcast inspired purchase. John Arbon and his wife started the mill by purchasing vintage machinery and continued that path. So most of their machines are vintage and maybe the last of their kind in the world. And they have a mill open weekend, but during COVID lockdown, they did virtual mill open weekends, and this is from their second one. And the yarn was dyed especially for their 20th anniversary. And they had come up with a new line of yarn called Appledore, which you can find on their website, Arbon Textiles, Arbon. I will put links to the patterns and the yarn and everything as much as I can find in the description. The two companies that made these hand-dyed yarns were the RiverKnits, and they made this dark burgundy maroon and the, I believe, the aqua or teal colored yarn here. One is called Excalibur and one is called Avalon. And on YouTube, I'll add a link to an interview that was done with those yarn dyers. And then the bright pink and the bright yellow was dyed by Lola of Third Vault Yarns. One is called Kiwano or Kawano, and one is called Dragon Fruit. And then the marled yarns, the marled pink and the marled blue, which is here. This is the marled, these are the marled blues, and then the, well, anyway, that's just by the Arbon Textile Mill themselves. They took mill ends and created interesting colored yarn, and I think when I finally got around to ordering, the only colors left were those two options. It's called Tutti Frutti. So anyway, and the buttons were bought at Joann Fabrics years ago, and they're Mary Engelbreit buttons, if you know who that is. And I don't think you can get them anymore unless you're very creative. So what I did, I had purchased these yarns with the idea of making certain cowls and hats, and it turns out the yarn's a little too crunchy for that. So when I saw the Shipshape cardigan pattern, I thought, oh, instead of just having two stripes, I'll just use all these colors and stripes and make a sweater. And so I did a swatch. This is my first and last swatch. I liked it, and I went on from there. And I have one more sweater, and I could not tell you when I made it. This is a crochet jacket. It's called the Audrey Swing Jacket, and it's by Janie Crow or Jane Crowfoot, and the yarn is from West Yorkshire Spinners. And the story is that my cousin's wife was making one of the very colorful Afghans that Janie Crow designs, and I was rather jealous, but I thought, I don't need an Afghan, and I certainly am not going to make all those little squares and sew them together. And I saw this pattern, I thought, well, I can do a Janie Crow pattern as well, and it will be this Audrey jacket. So that is what I have for you today. Thank you for watching. If you got this far, thank you a lot for watching, and please hit like and maybe even subscribe, although most of my videos are actually piano teaching or piano expounding on topics videos, but I throw in the knitting videos. So I have 3 playlists. One is Noting the Knits, that's this one. There's Knitting the Notes, which is sort of my offering to fellow piano teachers on topics of potential interest. And then Music at the Piano is a series of videos for people who may not have access to a teacher in different places around the world, and some of them have found me, and or teachers who want ideas for how to present certain pieces. So anyway, thank you very much. Happy New Year.